Nah.
That's not me though.
Thank you for coming tonight. This is step one, graduation in front of the whole school is yet to come on next Tuesday night, so that's why they're still not spoken out entirely. I'd like to now invite Mr. Mike Smith to come and grab the microphone and say a few words. Of course, Mr. Smith is the CEO of the school board.
Thank you, Mr. Price. It's a privilege to be here. Congratulations to the students, Year 12 Foundation students. They've been the oldest from Year 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Congratulations to the parents, to just without being a foundation school, just getting through to Year 12. Parents are graduating as well tonight, I think, as well. And that's an amazing thing. In my hand is a book. It's about a husband and wife who came on a boat to West Australia in 1830. That was the second boat that arrived. And you wouldn't believe my name's in there. Now, I didn't do anything, I wasn't around then. But that parent, those married couple with their family, they came from another country, those on the boat, saying, you all came from different schools. You come here in Year 8, you're all different schools. You've come to create a new community, and that's amazing. You're pioneers. And if I can just leave you one little verse, the teachers have shared education, they've done it well. Whatever you needed, the students needed in class, they gave. If they didn't have it in the school, they brought it in. If they couldn't bring it in, they took the students out to facilities they needed. And also they shared a little bit about their faith. So they shared the education, shared their faith. And for me, one verse that has always helped me in my Christian journey, in my work, is in 2 Peter 1 verse 3. It says, God has given us everything we need for life and godliness. And these guys are coming to the end of their high school career, and God can supply their needs now and in the future. Godliness, it's a little bit unusual, but it's really, God's got good works for you to do. And we can all I can easily do destructive things, but to do good things, that takes a mental effort. And God actually says that He's going to give those resources for life and for godliness. Thank you very much.
I'll just walk to Mr. Venter. I shall now call upon Mr. Venter to say grace. That way I can stop having the camera taking my photo.
Let's close our eyes. I want to thank you, Lord, for the privilege to celebrate this special night with these guys. I want to thank you, Lord, for every student here, every parent, every staff member. Lord, I want to thank you that we as teachers have the privilege to get to know these students, Lord, to teach them, to care for them, and to love them. Please bless these proceedings tonight, Lord. I want to thank you for the food also. Please bless your bodies. Thank you for loving us. Amen.
Throughout the meal or during the various different times, students, of course, feel free to read the letter that is on the table if you haven't already, and also to continue to go around and get signatures, autographs, mementos, little stories from your teachers and other families and friends in your book. Thank you. Good evening again. Just to start the formal proceedings, we'll kick off first with subject award winners. So this year, calculated over the 2 semesters, we looked and found the best or top student in each subject. To present these awards, Mrs. Dos Santos will read. and Mr. Dos Santos will present the students with their certificates.
Just as Mr. Price said, these are subject awards, and on Tuesday night at Prize Night we will be presenting the Dux Awards for the Year 12s. For Geography Stage 3 and Mathematics Stage 3, Kylwyn Beaton. For Drama Stage 3 and Physical Education, Nicole Caper. For Chemistry Stage 3 and Human Biological Studies, Stage 3, Robin Chapman. For the VET courses in Business, Certificate 2, and Furniture Design, Certificate 2, and in Design, Stage 1, Zeke Cross. Sorry, I have an addition to that, it's also Mathematics Stage 1. For Physical Education Studies, Stage 1, Sport and Recreation Vet Course Certificate 2, Tash Glennon. For Integrated Science, Stage 1, Phoebe Hanneman. Media Stage 1, Brodie Hodges. For Media Stage 3, Harrison Mitchell. Physical Education Studies, Stage 3, Danielle Parmenter. Career and Enterprise, Stage 1, Ethan Pritchard. English Stage 1 and Food Science and Technology Stage 1, Santika Robinson. For Business Management Enterprise Stage 3, Food Science and Technology Stage 3, and Mathematics Stage 2, Miley Smith. For English Stage 3 and Modern History Stage 3, Hannah Underwood. they sit down, let's give them one more round of applause.
Don't forget tea and coffee is available over there in the little alcove, plus dessert will be served shortly.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and you just go ahead, keep eating your dessert. We've just got to keep things moving, so the facilities, you just go ahead. First, I'd like to welcome you again to all the parents and friends of our wonderful students. I'd like to welcome our students of Year 12 as well, and also our staff. A special welcome again to Mr. Mike Smith, Chairman of the Board. It's very important for us to have a good, secure board to work with, because it gives us the security, strength, the vision, and the stability to be able to move forward and to produce these tremendous Year 12 students that we have today. A lot of people have said to me, you know, basically, what is it that you see in the Year 12 students? We'll talk some more about that probably on prize night, but I think the most important thing is, as I said to the Year 12 students today, was that they'll probably change their career 5, 6, 7 times in their life. And it's not important for us just to teach them a career path or a particular subject. It's teaching them how to be people of character, how to be winners, how to be overcomers, how to overcome difficulties when they present themselves to us. And every time a student in years to come will get a new career path, they'll have to find problem-solving solutions to those new problems, to those new situations. When I first introduced myself to the Year 8 students, I would go in each week and I would teach them for about 15 or 20 minutes on motivation. And one of the first stories I told them was the story about a guy called Henry Ford. And Henry Ford once said, whether I say I can or whether I say I can't, anyone remember? You're always right. Yep, you're always right. So whether I say I can or whether I say I can't, I'm right. And often we can achieve things, if it is within our ability, through the ability to be able to perceive them and to be able to believe that we can do them. Einstein, how many of you have heard of Einstein? Yes? Okay, now Einstein said that we're in a constant place of change, that we have to have a different mindset to solve problems to the mindset we had that created the problems. So when we have a problem, and I'm going to share with you a story today about a guy called Roger Bannister, and when we have a problem, we've actually got to change our mindset to be able to overcome those issues. Life is full of problem-solving situations. They're not right, they're not wrong. But many of us fall short because we don't find a creative solution through them. Now, you probably know that each one of us changes. In fact, every cell in my body has changed, they tell me, over the last 7 years. That means all the cells in my body in early 2008 that I had then, I don't have now. And the school basically started from the ground up in June 2009. So, you know, all my cells have basically changed. But am I a different person, or is it just that my cells have changed? For us, it's really important to know that we put ourselves in a position of change all the time. The problem with a lot of people is that they get so comfortable with the position that they're in that they don't know how to handle change. Change is just part of life. And Year 12 students, this is what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about the fact that we will hit mental barriers in our lives. And we've got to change our thinking, and we've got to change our belief system to be able to get there. Now, how many of you have heard of a guy called Chris Chataway? No? Okay. All right. How many of you have heard of a guy called Chris Brayshaw? You have? Well done. Who was Chris Brayshaw?
He was the paceman for Roger Bannister in the first 4-minute mile.
Fantastic. We're going to talk about him in just a moment. How many of you have heard about Roger Bannister? More than one hand? 2 hands. Great. 3 hands. Can I have a raise on 3 hands? Any further? Okay, who's heard of Roger Bannister? Just put your hands up if you have. Okay. Now, Roger Bannister was, and several hands there, Roger Bannister was the person who broke the first 4-minute mile. Now, in 1956, I think it was, 54, in 1954, they didn't believe that you could break the 4-minute mile. They thought that the heart was going to pump so hard that it was going to explode within the rib cage. And so people would run this 4-minute mile, and they got to 4 minutes and 1 second, but they could not break this barrier. There was a mental barrier there. Now, Roger Bannister, who was a medical student, realized that there was a problem. He trained harder, and he trained as hard as he possibly could, and he got to 4 minutes and 3 seconds. He was pretty close, so he trained harder, and he couldn't break 4 minutes and 3 seconds. He had to change his thinking. Now, he changed his thinking, and this is exactly what Einstein was saying. You need to have a different mindset to the problem that you have. So he changed his thinking, and he decided, and I'm going to show you a little film clip in a moment, that he was going to beat this 4-minute mile, but he wasn't going to beat it on his own, like he was trying to all his life. He was going to beat it as a team. So he employed 2 of his friends, his running friends, Chris Brayshaw and Chris Chataway. And he came up with this strategy. Now, Chris Brayshaw was going to run the first 2 laps ahead of him, and Roger Bannister was just going to be behind him. After 2 laps, Chris Chataway would take over, and he would lead Roger Bannister into the 3rd lap, and then Roger Bannister would come home in the 4th lap. It's very interesting that as you listen to this race, that you'll pick up a couple of points, but I just want you to keep in mind that firstly, it was done as a team. Secondly, it was done by Roger Bannister thinking that he was going to change the rules to achieve the goal. And thirdly, you're going to see a little clip at the end of that from about a guy called John Landy. Now, John Landy was an Australian runner, and he could not break the 4-minute mile either. But 2 weeks after Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, John Landy did as well. A couple of weeks after that, they had a race. It was called the Miracle Mile, and Roger Bannister and John Landy were in the race. Roger Bannister won. John Landy made an incredible comment at the end, and you'll hear it, and he says, "I couldn't beat Roger Bannister because I had no one to work with me." He was basically a lone runner. So, guys, I'm talking about achieving your goals, dreaming big, changing the rules, and working in a team. Let's have a look at this.
As the gun fired, Chris Brayshaw went into the lead, and I slipped in effortlessly behind him, feeling tremendously full of running. My legs seemed to meet no resistance at all, almost as if impelled by an unknown force. We seemed to be going so slowly. Impatiently, I shouted faster, but Brayshaw kept his head and didn't change the pace. I went on worrying about the pace until I heard the first lap time of 57.5 seconds. In the excitement, my knowledge of pace had deserted me. Brayshaw could have run the first quarter in 55 seconds without my realizing it, because I felt so full of running. But I should have had to pay for it later. Instead, he had made success possible. At 1.5 laps, I was still worrying about the pace. A voice shouting, "Relax," penetrated to me above the noise of the crowd. I learned afterwards it was Stamford's. Unconsciously, I obeyed. If the speed was wrong, it was too late to do anything about it, so why worry? I barely noticed the half mile passed in 1 minute 58 seconds. I was relaxing so much that my mind seemed almost detached from my body. It was incredible that we could run at this speed without strain. I was barely aware of the fact that Chris Chataway was now going into the lead. 3/4 of a mile, the effort was still barely perceptible. The time was 3 minutes 0.7 seconds, and by now the crowd was roaring. A 4-minute mile was possible. Somehow, to do it, I had to run the last lap in 59 seconds. Chataway led round the next bend, and then I pounced past him at the beginning of the back straight, 300 yards from the finish. I had a moment of mixed joy and anguish when my mind took over. It raced well ahead of my body and drew me compellingly forward. I felt that the moment of a lifetime had come. Those last few seconds seemed never ending. A faint line of the finishing tape stood ahead as a haven of peace after the struggle. I leapt at the tape, like a man taking his last spring to save himself from the chasm that threatens to engulf him. My effort was over, and I collapsed almost unconscious with an arm on either side of me. It was only then that the real pain overtook me. I knew I had done it before I even heard the time. I felt as if I was too close to have failed.
Feel about this, John? Do you feel that maybe you paced yourself a bit too quickly in the preceding lap?
No, I had no alternative. I had nobody to help me. I tried to run a lone wolf race. If I couldn't shake Roger off, I had to lose, and when I looked down on the final back straight and I saw it with me, well, I knew it was curtains, but I think that it was a very good race. I have no excuse. I couldn't beat him under the circumstances, and he just out-kicked me in the final 70 or 80 yards, and that was all there was to it.
So that was John Landy, a man who broke the 4-minute mile. So, Year 12 students, what has all this got to do with your final valedictory dinner, with you leaving Austin Cove Baptist College and going into a whole new world? From what I've just shared, there are 5 lessons, very quick lessons that I'd like to leave you with. Firstly, if you have the ability, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. If you set that mental barrier and you're happy with it, then that's fine. But for many of you, I know you're not happy with the mental barrier. Break through new ones. Believe you can. Don't listen to the voices that say you can't. Work hard. Push yourself. But break that mental barrier. Whether you think you can, whether you think you can't, you're right. Secondly, we all operate in teams. Graduation on Tuesday night, we'll call out your names. Tonight we will call out your names. You'll be the Roger Bannisters. I'll be the Chris Chataway. Mum and Dad will be the Chris Brachers. No one will even hear about it or even recognize us except one parent. But your name will be there. It's because you've operated in a team. You've honored in the team. You've worked within that team. And there are times that people in your team will push you and you're not going to like it, but work within it. Third lesson, strategy. They worked out a mathematical strategy for Roger Bannister to win that race. If he, as the leader of the team, was telling Chris Brasher, faster, faster, and Chris Brasher was intimidated by that, rather than sticking to the game plan, he would have gone faster, and Roger Bannister would not have had the legs to be able to finish in under 4 minutes. But he didn't. He stuck to the strategy. When we talk about planning, when we talk about organization, when we talk about actually making sure that you've got some kind of unemotional plan, that will help you through when the emotions kick in. When you're going, no, I want to give up, stick to the plan. First thing, believe you can. Secondly, honor your teams. Thirdly, have a strategy. Fourthly, have a very clear vision. They had a very clear vision. They had a very clear goal. Above 4 minutes, we lose. Under 4 minutes, we win. Very simple. Each one of us, if we set the goals, get the strategy, work with teams, and believe we can, it will help. And finally, nothing great is achieved without a team. I always honor the board. I always honor the staff that we have. I always honor the students we have. I always honor the parents we have, because nothing in each one of our Year 12 students or any of our students can be achieved without the team. So students, as you leave from here, you're going into great goals, great achievements, great visions, great dreams. Make sure that you honor your team. Make sure you're not afraid of them. Make sure you allow them to help you to achieve your goal. And I know you will achieve everything that God has put in your heart. The greatest thing that I can leave you with is the one who has become my greatest team member, and that is God. And if you haven't already found that strength in God, I would certainly encourage you to do that before you leave. Thank you very much, and God bless you. So we will just continue our program. We'll finish dessert as well. Have we all done dessert? Okay, I'll hand over to Mr. Price then.
At this point, I will call all Year 12s to please enter the small room on the side here and get ready for the graduation service. So parents, feel free to grab yourself another cup of tea or get yourself settled, camera ready, charged up. Parents, family, friends, I present to you the graduating class of 2015, starting with Rachel Anderson. Kyron Beaton. Louise Blackmore. Chloe Canavan. Sienna Canavan. Nicole Capeman. Robin Chapman. Zeke Cross. Travis Durnan. Taj Fleming. Phoebe Hanneman. Christopher Hay. Brody Hodges. Hayden Lomman. Harrison Mitchell. Danielle Parpenter. Ethan Pritchard. Gemma Ramage. Santika Ashley Robinson. Miley Smith. Caitlin Staples. Brittany Stone. Matthew Strang. Madison Thor. Hannah Underwood. Emily Thompson. Liam Vandersloot. Parents, family, friends, I present to you the graduating class of 2015. We're almost at the end, and the opportunity now is for you to be able to have photographs taken with your children in the back room here, so please feel free to use that service. The students at the end of this service will be giving back their sashes. That way we can actually hang on to them and give them back to them on prize night, to which they will then keep them as a further memento of their time at Austin Cove Baptist College. Thank you.
There's just a couple of questions about getting photographs. So if you want any of the photographs, if you just email us, then we'll pass your emails on to Kelly, yeah, and then we'll allow you to be able to discuss that. And guys, never forget the college affirmation, okay? Okay, great. When we have our reunion in 10 years' time, we'll say the college affirmation. All the best, and I wish you all the best. Thanks very much.
Yes.